This reference value issue only exists for reference types, by the way. For unboxed value types, such as int or float or system.drawing.point, the variable directly contains the value. There are no references, which means that equality can only mean comparing values. So this code which compares two integers will evaluate that they are equal because the equality operator is comparing the value stored in variable 3 with the value stored in the variable 3 again. However, if I add this line, which casts both variables to object, and run the code, you can see that the first comparison returns true, but the second comparison returns false. That happens because object is a reference type, so when I cast the integers to object, they end up getting boxed into references. Because of that, the second comparison is actually comparing references, not values, and it returns false because the integers have been boxed into different reference instances. That's something that a lot of developers don't expect. Luckily, you don't often cast value types to object. But a more common scenario that can catch you out is if you need to cast to an interface. I'll add another line that illustrates that. This casts both integers to iComparable of int. That's an interface that we'll look at later in this course, and which int happens to implement. In .NET, interface references are always reference types, so this involves boxing too. And if I run this code, you can see that this new equality check also returns false. And that's because, again, this is now doing reference equality. So you need to be careful with equality if you need to cast value types to interfaces. You'll invariably get reference equality when you do that. All this, of course, would probably not have been a problem if C# had different operators for reference and value equality. But it doesn't, which I think is a shame. C# is just one equality operator, and there's often no obvious way to tell up front what the operator is actually going to do for a given type. You just have to know. There's not really any way around that. That's just how C# is designed. What I'm going to do in this course, though, is take you through what the equality operator does and how it works under the hood in detail. So hopefully, by the time you have watched this course, you will have a much better understanding than most developers of what actually happens when you write something equals something else, and so you'll be in a better position to predict how code that compares objects will behave.